Hello, hello, welcome to California First, Dennis. As you can see, I changed my handle ID and make sure it's so that can be easier for people. That's why I hope as easier as possible. As usual, hopefully, let me try. Make sure I'm getting through the notification. Okay, let me see. It's getting through. Yeah, sounds good. Make sure you press like and subscribe. And let's see if I have nobody yet. So it still takes some time. And once I start the video, maybe it will start rolling. Okay, I'm going to get started with the video. The video is about, this is very tough topic because it gets pinned by many Democrats.
Lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Mr. President, how do you want to see your supporters respond to this? Charlie Kirk was a big advocate of nonviolence and free speech on campus. How do you want your supporters to respond, sir?
I think that way. He was an advocate of nonviolence. You can see people respond. Say it?
Did you speak with his family this
I
afternoon?
did. I spoke to Erica.
Actually, this is the whole clip, and Jimmy Kimmel only took part of it as the part of the video, and also within the part of the video there's some I think purposely frame and try to smear President Trump.
His wife. And we had a long talk, and she's devastated. She is absolutely devastated, as you can imagine. I'd rather not say. I think progress is being made. He's an animal, total animal. And hopefully they'll have him and they'll get him. What he did is disgraceful. Charlie Kirk was a great person, a great man, great in every way, especially with youth. And what he did, what this man did, was disgraceful. So hopefully we'll have him and we will deal with him very appropriately.
My condolences on the loss of...
Okay, this is the part that Jimmy Kimmel take it out and for his monologue.
Your friend Charlie Kirk, may I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty. It'll be an absolutely magnificent structure. And I just see all the trucks. We just started, so it'll get done very nicely, and it'll be one of the best anywhere in the world, actually. Thank you very much.
In between the fingers.
They only keep that part, and pretty obvious. President Trump is here, the journalist right in front of him. he answered that question. And the guy in the back holding the camera, probably holding the camera with the microphone next to his mouth, so he get the voice out. Probably Jimmy Kimmel's spy, or okay.
Pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not
very bad intention. The whole production is evil. The whole production is intentionally to make dividing the try to divide the mega administration or mega party or Republican Party. Okay, so they try to put someone recording President Trump saying something else. It's make it looks like President Trump doesn't care about Charlie Kirk. Okay, that's really, really bad intention, and it's not a good time. It's not good. It's not ethic to using those kind of a smear tactic. So he deserves to be fired.
how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
Do you have one favorite memory of Charlie?
Many favorite memories. He was just a great guy. I've never seen a person that was a little bit older get along so well with you.
This part, he didn't clip. He only clipped the part. He only clipped, Jimmy Kimmel only clipped the part that President Trump wasn't answering the question from the video, from the voice, because President Trump was responding to the journalist right in front of him. And my guess, the journalist right in front of him was asking about the ballroom, okay, the construction of a ballroom. That's why he got those response. And the Democrat or the Jimmy Kimmel is smear, try to using smear tactic, and also make it divide, try to divide. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Wow, thank you very much for coming in. Let me continue this video. Thank you. So I want to make sure people know. I will explain later. Let me finish the video, because the rest of the video is about Trump talking about to the journalist about Charlie Kirk.
He got along with young people. I've never seen anything like it, and he really helped me a lot. I did very well, as you know, with young people, and he was a big factor. How are you? All right?
I'm well, thanks. How are you? Are you going to go to Charlie Kirk's funeral, sir?
I will.
You will. Do you know when that will be?
I believe it's in Arizona, and they've asked me to go, and I think I have an obligation to do that.
Do you know when that will be?
I'm hearing I hear next weekend.
After your trip?
I'm hearing next weekend.
Are you frustrated that they have not caught the perpetrator yet?
Well, I hear they're making great strides, Maggie. I hear they're making great strides. You know, they have pictures and some other things, and they found the weapon, big factor. So they're very talented people. Let's see what happens.
Mr. President,
certainly, we hope we can do it soon.
do you have a reaction? Yes.
What is your message to other conservative influencers, podcasters, TV hosts, that they might be targeted by some of these radical groups?
Well, we have to be brave in life. You know, in all fairness, we have a life and we have to be brave. I probably shouldn't be out here talking to you, in all fairness, but we have a great country. We have radical left lunatics out there, and we just have to beat the hell out of them.
Charlie was my boss.
She works for Charlie Kirk. She's Turning Point USA.
Charlie Kirk was my boss, and we're absolutely devastated. So I'm wondering if you have a message for our Turning Point USA family.
It's a great family. They're great friends of mine. He was, I would say, nobody stronger for me than Charlie Kirk. This is a devastating moment for the country. And as you know, I'm giving him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the biggest award outside of the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's the civilian version of the Congressional Medal of Honor, and he deserves it, and I look forward to it. I'll be going to his funeral.
Do you have a favorite moment? Do you have a favorite moment with Charlie Kirk?
The overall person, the persona of Charlie was unbelievable, especially with youth. Now, he was a young guy, but older than the people he was even catering to. I've never seen anybody have such an impact on young people.
What was going through your mind today at delivering the speech at the Pentagon? What was going through your mind?
I felt so sad. Charlie was on my mind, even though the speech was initially about Charlie. We went on to, September 11th. But more than anything else, Charlie was on my mind. It's very fresh and a very horrible thing. He was a great man.
Mr. President, are you planning to
What is your message to the millions of? What's your message to the millions of young Americans? Their voice, their political voice, was snuffed out in a group.
Just hang in there. And I think Turning Point. I spoke with Erica, wife, and they have great people in Turning Point, and I think they're going to carry it forward. And they're going to be very proud, looking down on us all. But he was incredible. He really helped me with the election too. We won youth. We did great with young people, which really doesn't happen very often with Republicans. You take a look at Mitt Romney and some of these others, they did so badly, and I did so well, and Charlie was a big factor. Thank you all.
Are you planning to go to UN General Assembly?
Last week.
New lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Who is scoring political? Okay. The scum Jimmy Kimmel. He really is a scum. Doesn't respect people. And one of the things in the freedom of speech, we can have disagreement. We can have perspective, seeing things in different perspective. But we cannot not. Charlie Kirk tells us, double down the truth. Because they are lying. Jimmy Kimmel deserves to get fired because it's not because he's a comedian, he can say jokes and stuff like that. He purposefully misleading the public. He can say something funny, For example, if if Charlie Kirk is not dead, he's like fall on the floor. And he can make jokes about that. But now Charlie Kirk died. And he also, without finding out more information, he said the shooter is mega. This whole thing is a really, really really Democrat, I would say. Democrat is a good term for liars. It's pretty bad. And MAGA is winning. I can tell you that. MAGA is winning. Winning like crazy. Now without Jimmy Kimmel making lies, we had less people making lies. And the truth will come out. Bad liar I'm going to show the video about Kash Patel talking to Adam Schiff. How Adam Schiff is this scum of the earth. How he get he censored in the House, and then he got no option there, and then he moved to be a Senate. Vote no on Prop 50. Yes, thank you. Yeah, we got to get the message out, because the voters, when they get the ballot, they just read the title and then they will get misled. They think, oh, another racist. Oh, okay. Pumsel, okay. And then, well, I will improve day by day, okay. Don't be jealous. Yeah, because this channel, first intention is for Cantonese, okay. But somehow after I started and getting more and more English speaking audience, so I continue to do it in English. And I just do part, I'm only a part of the whole picture. Make America great again. And I want to make California golden again. And people who are not American probably will talk bad thing about America. And people who are not in California, they have no idea how bad our states are. Get out by country. Who's got some going up so fast? I missed a lot of message. Well, we have a lot of TDS over here. Welcome all the TDS. Welcome. See. Yeah, Jimmy is not funny. I don't know. I never watch him. Okay. He did it to himself. President Trump didn't order, okay, FCC to do that. FCC did that, and then Trump saw it, and then, oh, great, okay. The Democrat has the mindset, because they are dictator. So they think they have everything they think about. They're using their mindset. They think they're using their mentality to think about how mega operate. Mega operate very independent, because everyone in mega administration knows what to do. It's very straightforward. Everyone is doing their best to complete their job. Just cut and paste. Okay. You are not even American. It will see another racist. Just is another racist. Okay. Fire lies. Okay. I'm good at fire lies. You watch Uncle Roger? So many say fire. Yeah, fire words. Or fire rice or fire lies. So many. Sometimes it's fun to see all the races here. Okay. Fuck you. Okay, just okay. You don't even have guts to show your face or show your real name or show your real account. Okay. Fuck you. Okay. Nobody. Hope there's nobody over there. So actually, the reason I want to bring this up about Jimmy Kimmel, because mega is a free speech advocate, and we support free speech, First Amendment. And when this happens, we have to think about is it against our principle, right? So I spent at the beginning when I heard this news, I was like, not very good, because it's against First Amendment, right? Then I go find out the whole clip. I watched the whole clip from Jimmy Kimmel, and where he clipped that President Trump's saying about the ballroom when the journalist asking about Charlie Kirk, right? So everyone just have to do their own little bit research, then you will know the truth. So I spent some time at it, I cut part of it, and make sure. So if you just got here, you have to roll back to the beginning. Watch the whole process. How Jimmy Kimmel lied about the thing. Free speech for American citizen, not foreigner. What are you talking about, man? Godson. I don't know what you're talking about. Free speech for American citizen? I'm American citizen. What the fuck? Okay? Whole bunch of racists here today. Oh, interesting. See? A lot of left-thought racists. He can lie. It's not illegal. Yeah, that's why he didn't go to jail. If Jimmy Kimmel did something illegal, probably he will go to jail. But because he didn't do his lie is not against the law, but his lie is against FCC. Okay? Got it? Okay. Hopefully you can understand the difference. Cultural appropriation. Okay. What is your response to cultural appropriation? Love that haircut. Thank you. I really think Kimmel sucks. I never watch him even sometimes how the short come up with the Jimmy Kimmel stuff. I just go past, It's not funny at all. Nothing is funny from him. He tried to find some yes, but it's not funny. Boycott. Well, we don't even need to boycott ABC. ABC is doing their own boycott. It's not when you people are, man, I didn't know people have so little knowledge about FCC regulation. You cannot say fuck on TV, because they're regulation. But YouTube doesn't have the FCC regulation. That's why we can say whatever we want. But if like Jimmy Kimmel did become a YouTuber, he can say whatever he wants. He can say that. He can do that. Either people watch him or people watch him or people don't watch him. But in the TV network, then there's different rules. Oh. Yeah, it sucks, period. It sucks. It's not funny at all. Well, you can make fun of politician. I think it's okay. But the way he make fun of a politician is not funny. That is the problem. Okay, FCC rules don't trump federal law. I don't know. You guys typing like PhD English? FCC rules don't trump federal law. What's that mean? He won't do well on YouTube. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel is very competitive on YouTube. I don't think he has a chance. You are not safe, sir. I don't know what you're talking about, Patrick. I'm safe. I'm super safe. I'm in America, the safest place in the world. Okay. He's not funny, but you say he's not funny, but you say you don't watch him. He's not funny. I don't watch him. Because he's not funny, so I don't watch him. Okay. I did watch him before, of course, you know. I'm not born yesterday. And then after a while, after I think 2016, then they start showing their agenda. That everything turns politics. Just like Oscar. Everything turns politics. It's so. That's why I turned it off. So don't do something about anti-Semitic. Okay. It's funny reading all the incomplete sentence, TDS. You know, I try to understand. At the same time, is keep rolling up. I got to see it very fast. F stands for federal. So what are you talking about? Federal. A lot of injured people bought back. Yeah, I need to buy a new one too. Yeah, because previous video I did a video talk about Trump is right about everything. Now you see we have our interest rate drop, but still kind of too late. Maybe we need to drop not a quarter. You got to drop half point. But I think it's well, it's the first step at least. Not safe for you. I don't understand why people say I'm not safe. Everyone types slowly. Thank you. Okay. I enjoyed this so much. I enjoy everyone so much. But we have to move on to the next one. Because next one is very interesting because it's about the argument between Kash Patel and the left-hard Congress, especially Broker and Adam Schiff. Oh man, it's funny. Let's see. I tried to get this thing on independent individual video, but it's a 3-hour video. Okay, so right now I only show second half. Do you think Trump will show up at tournament? Yeah, he will. Do you? Yeah. White boy Ray. White boy Ray. Man, I can tell you, it's going to be a lot of people. I cannot go because on the 20th, I am going to meet Steve Hilton, and then after that, probably I have some, and also I'm in Los Angeles, and there is Arizona. So I wish I can go. Oh, thank you very much. Lee, Southern Patriot. Thank you, thank you. America is great, baby. America is great, baby. I love America. I love this country. I always feel thanked by our parents. We go through a lot. Our parents go through a lot in order for us to be able to be here. Put something about. I'm going to put this more fun. This is going to be fun. Okay, and somehow I try to type. I will try to type. Oh, good. Okay, looks like my keyboard is working well. So let's have fun.
Did you speak with his family this afternoon? I did. I spoke to Erica, his wife, and we had a long talk.
You claim that you have a suspect in a serious assassination. Whoops, then you don't have a suspect. You know nothing about plans to remove FBI agents, yet you're directly involved in those plans. In the words of an ex-FBI official, you are overseeing, and I quote, generational destruction of the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Mr. Patel, in just 8 months, you have assaulted the institutional integrity of the FBI. But I know FBI field agents. I've worked with them in Newark. No matter how truly bad you are, you can't undermine the legacy of agents who fight every day to keep us safe, but you can tarnish the integrity of the agency and undermine the agency's capacity. I believe you're failing as a leader, and that your failure does have serious implications for the safety and security of Americans and our families. We're more vulnerable to domestic and foreign attack because of your failures of leadership. I don't think you're fit to hand the Bureau. But here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, sir. That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is my time.
I follow you on your social media posts that tear this country apart.
To address your falsehoods.
Oh, you can try all you want
in this country.
to not take responsibility for what you have said.
Time.
Sir, you're making a mockery of this committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
The
people of New Jersey tell me what my time is. You can't lecture me.
You can tell me my time's over.
You may be the charge of the
I'm not going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you,
Mr. Chairman.
Not afraid of you.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. Senator Booker, I announced at the beginning of this meeting that this back and forth talking over each other doesn't work. And I said if that happened, I asked Patel not to respond, and I was going to give him some time after the senator's time was up to respond. And he has the privilege to do that uninterrupted.
Mr. Chairman, one point of order.
Go ahead, Mr.
I've
Patel.
watched him talk over us, and you've never once criticized him for us not even being able to get our questions out.
Well,
he has been rude and disrespectful to senator after senator.
And when the senators were not giving him a chance to answer, I didn't stop the senator either. Go ahead, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If the FBI, under my 7-month leadership, were failing this administration in this country, why do we have 23,000 violent felons arrested this year alone? A a double increase from that time last year. Why is it that we have seized 6,000 weapons? Why have we found 1,500 child predators and arrested them? Why have we 300 human traffickers in jail? Why have we found and identified 4,700 children? Why have we seized 1,600 kilograms of fentanyl, enough to kill a third of the American public, a 25% increase alone from last year? 88,000 kilograms of cocaine seized, 7,000 kilograms of meth seized, and that's just on our criminal operations in summer heat. How is it possible that we're taking 8 kilograms off the streets of the cities in New Jersey and preventing the deaths of 607,000 people this year alone, a failure of the FBI and my leadership? How is it that we have counterintelligence arrests already this year exceeding the numbers from the entirety of last year? 33% increase in PRC, 83% in Russia, 60% in the CI space as it relates to Iran, and we haven't even talked about CT, the southern border, the northern border.
Before Senator Cruz, I kind of feel like a broken record today. All this interest in FBI termination, yet my colleagues showed no intent or interest in when my whistleblowers suffered retaliation over the past years, particularly the past 4 years. Indeed, one whistleblower has alleged that Brian Driscoll's insubordination, whether an agent is on a hot button case or not, they ought to be held accountable for misconduct and weaponization. Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I have to say, it used to be that to see theater, you had to go to the Kennedy Center. Now, apparently, you need only go to the Senate Judiciary Committee and see our Senate Democrats berating the director of the FBI, which, okay, it's not, partisan politics is not new in the United States Congress. But what is remarkable is what Senator Booker was berating Director Patel about. He wasn't berating him for failing to do his job, but rather he was furious for Director Patel for successfully doing his job. For 4 years, the Democrats under Joe Biden had an open border that undermined the safety of every single American. They allowed 12 million illegal aliens to come into this country to invade this country, and every single day Americans were murdered, women were raped, children were assaulted by violent criminals that Democrats released. Now, Director Patel, I found Senator Booker's questioning really bizarre. He asked you, have you reassigned FBI agents from human trafficking to immigration issues? Director Patel, are the Mexican cartels that are bringing people illegally into this country engaged in human trafficking?
Yes, sir.
What the hell does it mean to reassign someone from human trafficking to immigration? The greatest human trafficking in the world has been over the last 4 years at our southern border. It is modern-day slavery that the Democrats still defend. They still defend those open borders. Mr. Patel, he also said, did you reassign FBI agents from protecting children to immigration? How many children have you found that were victimized by the open borders of the previous administration?
4,700.
4,700. And yet, oddly, I don't hear a Democrat here saying, gosh, thanks for protecting those kids.
35% increase year to date last year.
All right, I want to shift topics. And I want to shift topics to what happened last week. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was assassinated because of his political views. We're living in a time of enormous division and tragically hatred, and hatred that manifested in evil that we saw last week. Now, the FBI, working in concert with state and local law enforcement, apprehended what appears to be, in all likelihood, the murderer. And you did so in just 33 hours. So I want to start by just congratulating you and the FBI agents and state and local law enforcement for successfully apprehending the murderer in less than a day and a half. In the wake of that assassination, We have seen far too many people on the left celebrating the assassination. We've seen Democrats, we've seen activists cheering it on. We've seen, tragically, teachers in high schools, teachers in elementary schools, university professors cheering on the murder of Charlie Kirk. You and I both knew Charlie well. He was a good friend. He was an extraordinary man. And I will say there's a great deal of discussion about what to do about it. Under our Constitution, under the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, speech is protected. And that's true even for vile speech. Someone can stand up and say the most hateful thing, and it's protected by the First Amendment. Nazis and Klansmen can march in the streets, and even though their speech is bigoted and horrible and racist, the First Amendment protects it. Conduct, however, is not protected by the First Amendment, particularly conduct that is violent. Violent conduct that is threatening others, that is harassing others, that is injuring, or in this case, murdering others, is most assuredly not protected by the First Amendment. And so I would encourage you and the FBI to focus on conduct. Now, speech can direct, speech can guide you to those engaged in conduct. And I will say one question that I have and many have, and I recognize this is an ongoing investigation, so I don't want you to say anything that would compromise the investigation. But what can you tell us at this point about what evidence there exists of other individuals who may have had prior knowledge of this assassin's plans to murder Charlie Kirk on September 10th?
Generally speaking, we've interviewed numerous people, family members and friends, including the partner, to provide us with a detailed history of the knowledge he may have had, the suspect may have had prior to. We're still mapping out who, if anyone, was involved as an accomplice. As I said, the investigation is ongoing. We're also speaking to and going to interview numerous individuals online who were part of a chat group that was involved in this heinous assassination. And we're also going to work with our state and local partners out in Utah to find out what community organizations, if any, participated or had any foreknowledge of this information. But it's very much ongoing. I remind everybody that it's not even been a week since Charlie's tragic death.
Is it accurate? It's been widely reported that the assassin's roommate was a transgender man who was transitioning to be female, and it's also been reported that they may have been romantic partners. Is that accurate?
Yes, Senator.
And I assume the FBI is investigating. It has also been reported that there were transgender chat rooms that may have had some awareness of the plan to commit this murder. Is that accurate as well?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
It's been reported that there were chat rooms of transgender activists that indicated some degree of potentially of foreknowledge of this murder.
We're still developing that.
Do you have any information the bullet casings had on them both Antifa and LGBT wording on them? Do you have any indication of the source of those engravings and what inspired them?
As to the actual source, we're still developing that.
I want to encourage you in the course of this investigation, absolutely go after anyone who aided and abetted. But I want to more broadly encourage you, follow the money. The violence we are seeing is not purely organic. There is, I believe, significant money that is spreading dissension, that is spreading violence. Antifa. Do you believe Antifa is a terrorist organization?
I believe Antifa is associated with a lot of violence in this country. As to its designation, I'll leave that to the appropriate authorities.
So I would encourage the administration to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization, to go systematically after Antifa. They've committed acts of violence all over the country. And the shell casings have multiple references to slogans that Antifa has popularized. I believe there is considerable money funding it. I would note that I've introduced legislation called the Stop Funders Act. Stop Funders Act would add rioting to the list of predicate offenses under RICO. I believe the money should be tracked and prosecuted under RICO, and both the Antifa and Black Lives Matter riots of a couple of years ago and the pro-open border riots in Los Angeles and other cities of this past year, I believe there was significant money behind those riots. I'm not the only person who noticed at the anti-Semitic protests and violent protests on college campuses that many of the tents all matched. And so I would ask, would it aid your ability to prosecute these matters if Congress passed into law the Stop Funders Act and if rioting was added to the list of predicate offenses for RICO?
Yes.
Talk to me about the efforts of the FBI to go after the funders of the anti-Semitic protests on college campuses, the pro-open border protests in cities, and potential LGBT violence. Talk to me about the efforts to go after the money of those who are funding and promoting violence.
As I've always said, Senator, money doesn't lie, and we've been following the money. And so that's what we're doing, issuing lawful process to organizations involved with criminal activity, because the money's got to come from somewhere, and it has to be funded somehow. So we have extensive investigations ongoing into numerous organizations that are related to violent criminal activity.
Cutting off the money will make America much safer, and that is the core job of the FBI. And I thank you for doing your job.
Senator Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, glad to be on this committee and take our responsibility seriously to conduct oversight of the FBI, obviously one of the most critical law enforcement agencies in the country. As Senator Klobuchar and others on this committee have reminded us, the last several months have provided far too many reminders of the political violence crisis in America today and the gun violence crisis in America today, including the tragic killing just last week. Director Patel, this committee takes seriously its not just oversight role, but recognizing the FBI's important role in protecting the public from gun violence while respecting constitutional rights. If you recall, this was a significant subject area of my questioning during your confirmation hearing. The Bureau plays a central role in enforcing federal firearm laws, ensuring the accuracy of background checks, and monitoring trends like machine gun conversion devices and lost or stolen firearms. Now, during your confirmation hearing, you pledged that the FBI would enforce firearm laws fully and fairly, consistent with the Second Amendment. Yet we continue to see a sharp rise in lost and stolen firearms reported by federal licensees. Can you point to any measurable enforcement results like arrests, not just arrests, but also prosecutions or task force expansions since you became director?
I'll get those to you, Senator.
Nothing you can share here today?
No, I'll get the full list to you.
You came unprepared today to respond to questions which you knew were important, going back to your confirmation hearing. Now, the Bureau has warned about the public safety threat posed by machine gun conversion devices, which convert semi-automatic weapons to automatic ones. Can you at least reference what resources you're dedicating to this threat?
Absolutely, Senator. Part of tracking ghost guns, as you alluded to, is having a sustainable database, which is hubbed out of our CJIS division in West Virginia. And we've allocated more resources so that FFLs can track and trace firearms that are stolen and make sure they don't get into the population. That's one of my primary concerns, that we don't want stolen weapons anywhere near anything.
But the numbers continue to go up as reported by federal licensees. Let me get to my next question on this topic. You previously stated that you hadn't reviewed FIX-NICS, a federal law that improves reporting to the National Criminal Background Check System. 8 months into your job, what concrete steps have you taken to ensure that NICS records are complete, accurate, and timely?
That's actually a great question that we have dedicated a lot of resources to, again, at CJIS. The NICS system has been trying to get to 100% within 15 minutes. We are currently at 93%, with 87% of those being responsive in less than 60 seconds. So we got more work.
Do you think additional resources would be helpful in getting to 100%, or do you still argue that less resources are necessary to get from 93 to 100?
No, I just think we have to work on how fast our actual infrastructure processes these things.
On to a question about resources. The FBI's core mission is to counter terrorism, espionage, and major criminal threats. Now, recent large-scale reassignments to immigration enforcement or politically motivated investigations cause me concerns that other critical missions are being neglected. One example, in March of this year, you created a Tesla-related task force and diverted personnel from the domestic terrorism operations section to work on that task force. What risk analysis justified that decision, and do you still consider domestic violent terrorism to be a lower priority?
Any form of terrorism, domestic or national, is the highest priority at the FBI. And
But
when
why
you say
divert resources away from those missions?
I don't believe that's accurate. We did not divert resources away. When cars were exploding and people were being set on fire, I directed resources to address it.
Well, then I'll suggest in your follow-up, and we can make this more explicit in our questions for the record, that you provide the accurate information about the diversion of resources. Because, again, when I understand that you authorize large-scale agent reassignments from counterintelligence and cybercrime to not just immigration cases, but others, it has an impact on the other priorities like nation-state threats and ransomware investigations. Moving on to a different subject area. Safeguarding our elections is a core FBI responsibility. The public needs confidence that election security work is driven by facts and free from political influence. Mr. Director, do you agree with Attorney General Bondi's decision to disband the FBI Foreign Influence Task Force?
The disbanding of that task force did not in any way reallocate or take away resources from that critical mission set.
So then how are you mitigating the risk of foreign actors interfering in U.S. elections heading in?
As I've highlighted through our cyber programs, which have seen a 40, 50, 60% increase in arrests for cyber threat actors looking to not just harm our critical infrastructure systems, but also interfere in our elections. We've had multiple arrests this year of individuals who are interfering in that process.
Did the Department of Justice's Election Integrity Task Force seek statewide voter lists and driver's license data?
I can't speak for the Department of Justice.
You're a member of the Department of Justice.
I can speak for the
Did the FBI play a role in those requests?
Whatever request that we had pursuant to the department's direction were provided.
So then you can speak
for the
to
FBI.
Those actions.
For the FBI.
So you can speak to those actions.
For the FBI.
So what role did you play in those requests?
Whatever requests we get from the department, I don't have those details in front of me. We provide whatever requests they have.
I have not many details in front of you on a lot of the questions coming from this side of the aisle. So I do hope that there are substantive and accurate responses to our questions in writing. In my time left, Mr. Chairman, I just want to call out a couple of observations. The director before us has tried to explain, I won't say explain, tried to explain how he doesn't need another $500 million to do the job. And specifically that even if the FBI had an additional $500 million, it would take years. I think he referenced 14 years to fill the vacancies. But in the meantime, relying on partnership with local law enforcement to fulfill the mission of the Bureau. As we've discussed in other hearings and in other committees, by the way, given this immigration mass deportation agenda of the administration, the FBI is not the only one leaning on local law enforcement to do the job. ICE has made it clear that they're doing the same. Other law enforcement agencies within DHS is doing the same. So much so that ICE's recruitment, because they're not only not advocating for cuts, they're actually requesting additional dollars and have issues about policy with them. But if ICE's plan to do the job.
What the hell is talking about? That's why Alex Padilla. So I told you he sucks. He is just doing whatever the Democrat Party or the I was like, man, what's his question? So I guess we just jump to some intellectual, more wise speaker.
False statements to the Congress or never suffered consequences for advancing the phony Trump-Russia narrative and attempting to cover up her involvement in the hoax with false statements. Yet time and again, the American justice system has been weaponized against President Trump and his associates, such as Peter Navarro, with reckless abandon. The DOJ's inaction on Nellie Ohr's criminal referral, despite the obvious incriminating evidence provided in the FBI's own analysis, undermines public trust in the rule of law thanks to Director Wray's utter failure. Senator Blackburn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Director Patel, thank you ever so much for being with us today. And I want to thank you for your commitment to fight violent crime in Memphis. And when you first came to meet with me before your hearing here, I gave you the stats on Memphis, Tennessee, and their crime rates. And then you committed then and again at your confirmation to help us. You have been true to your word, and we are very, very grateful. Operation Viper has been such a success. The 500 arrests are important. These are gang members and gang leaders out of Memphis, Tennessee. There are over 100 gangs in Memphis. So the impact of these arrests, the impact of 100 indictments of these gang members. And now we have a U.S. Attorney's Office that will actually prosecute violent crimes and actually take up and prosecute federal gun crimes. This is helping to make Memphis safe again. And yesterday at the White House, to have the president announce the second phase of this with bringing in the Guard, and we've got ATF and DEA and the U.S. Marshals and Homeland Security, and the work that you and General Bondi and the President have done is so appreciated by the people of Memphis, Shelby County, West Tennessee, and I am ever so grateful for the work you've done. You know, one of the things as we talk about Memphis and what a vibrant and wonderful historic city it is, it's important to realize Memphis is one of the logistics hubs in our country. You have I-40, which goes East Coast to West Coast. You have the Port of Memphis. You have FedEx. You have all 5 Class A railroads that are there, as well as so many companies that are important to Memphis. And I have found it so interesting that some of my colleagues want to complain about agents being taken out of the DC office and actually put to work in the field because they've been needed in the field. And you can look at the stats from Operation Viper and see the difference that they have made. And we so appreciate that. I do want to drill down just a little bit on the issue of cargo theft, which ties into the logistics hub in Memphis. We've got a lot of companies that go through there. IMC is a big logistics company. People in Memphis know what it takes to keep America moving. But what a lot of people may not realize is that many of these criminal gangs have been focused on cargo theft. This is how they pay for their activities. So in addition to the carjackings and the home robberies and the smash and grabs and some of the human and sex trafficking, they've gotten into cargo theft, and cargo theft in Memphis has increased over 5,000%. 5,000%. That's what you saw with a Biden administration who wouldn't drill down on this. So having these agents out in the field, having an interagency approach is something that is going to help us with getting our hands around this cargo theft. So talk for just a minute about what your team has done there and the importance of having that interagency approach.
Absolutely, Senator. So Operation Viper nests under Operation Summer Heat, and in multiple cities and mid-major cities across the country, we have surging resources based on crime. And Memphis, as you know, Senator, had the highest per capita homicide rate in the country, and that was simply unacceptable. And so what we did was what we call phase 01 of operations at the president's direction. We went into some of these cities quietly to collect the intelligence that was necessary to start these operations, to start seizing these firearms, which we seized, I think, over 115 firearms off the streets, to start taking narcotics off the streets, and also to infiltrate the gang network, this criminal street gang network that is providing these guns and drugs to the public in these communities, allowing for these shootings. And so what the FBI is good at, what the FBI is great at, is partnering with our local authorities in places like Memphis and Miami and Chicago and so many other cities across the country to start the work, because you can't do the work on a dartboard basis. You need ground level intelligence, and that's what we do working with our state and local law enforcement. And the results, I think they said over 100 indictments federally just in this 3-4 month surge, and now we're going to go in there with more resources to finish it.
And we are grateful for that, and I think it's so important for my colleagues, what we have seen in Memphis. You mentioned something very important. Your agents go in and they go in quietly. There was no press conference. There was no fanfare. You went in there to work. And very importantly, you gathered the intel. Who are these gang leaders? Where are they? Figuring out who was doing what, and then setting up the process to apprehend these individuals. And it requires infiltrating those networks and having that data to work from so that you are working in partnership. And as I have talked with elected leaders in Shelby County and Memphis, as we have talked with those in law enforcement, they have been so grateful to have this support and this additional education that comes, because local police are learning from your agents when they are learning how to track these gangs and infiltrate these networks. We know that phase 2 of this operation is going to kick off. The Guard is going to be there to support the Memphis Police Department to help them kind of catch up, because they still have a lot of people on their board. They know who they are, where they are, what they're doing. They want to apprehend them and bring them forward. So talk a little bit about how phase 2 is going to continue to work to support the law enforcement efforts in Memphis.
Well, it's just like what happened here in Washington, D.C. It takes a whole of government interagency approach where we're working with the Attorney General, the DEA, the ATF, the U.S. Marshals, Department of Homeland Security, because each one of those agencies has specialized capabilities. And when we surge together to work off of the ground level intelligence was collected, you see what happened in Washington, D.C. here. And that's the next phase of it, because you are able to utilize the National Guard to set up border perimeter operations. So when you go into an area, you have the secure workspace to get in there and stay in there. The key here, Senator, is sustained criminal investigations and sustained prosecutions that clear Memphis like we did Washington permanently and leave behind a blueprint for what local law enforcement can do with our federal partners to sustain that. We don't want to go backwards, and that's critical, but we're in the next step. Sustaining it will be the last one.
Well, and we certainly appreciate that. I do want to touch on Operation Restore Justice. And Senator Britt mentioned some of this very briefly, and I know that you and A.G. Bondi have done a tremendous amount of work in protecting children. I appreciate that. And we passed my Report Act last year, and the President Biden signed it, and this does require social media to report to NCMEC so that we can have these perpetrators followed up with and apprehended. That's a good start. We're still trying to get the Kids Online Safety Act passed. That has been a bipartisan effort. We have looked with disdain at what has happened with Discord and Charlie Kirk's killer, alleged killer. Talk for a moment about what else Congress ought to do in order to give you all the toolbox you need to apprehend these predators and pedophiles.
Well, I think we need to go after the monetary backbone of this infrastructure like we discussed earlier. I think we also need to make parents across the country aware of how invasive some of these social media sites are and how much criminal enterprise is going on and how easily these kids can be sucked into it. And also, the only way, in my opinion, to do that, as Senator Klobuchar and I believe Senator Graham had stated, was, we need to work on Section 230. It's been too long since we've addressed it. Nobody's being held accountable. They're making money, and our youth is dying. And that's just unacceptable.
Well, we have that reform bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Welch.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And just at the outset, I just want to say what I think all of us believe, and that is that the political violence that is so afflicting our country, it doesn't matter whether it's from the right or the left. I mean, all of us have an obligation to fiercely advocate for.
Well, it's going to be long, boring. I don't want to sit around, everyone sit around and watch their boring lecture. But here's some excitement, okay? There's some, this is funny, okay? This is funny. So, okay. So, jump to the funny part. Adam Pencil Adam Schiff.
This information has now come to light thanks to Dr. Patel, or Director Patel. Senator Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Patel, during your confirmation hearing, you made several important commitments. For instance, you told Senator Coons there will be no politicization at the FBI. There'll be no retributive actions taken by any FBI should I be confirmed as FBI director. So let me ask you very specifically, did you ever take any action to terminate or discipline an FBI agent or employee in whole or in part as retribution for being part of an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
No.
You also committed, you assured Senator Blumenthal, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. So you're testifying today that you played no role in the firing of even a single FBI agent for political retribution.
None for political retribution.
And if any FBI agent said you did, they would be lying. Is that your testimony?
I'm only speaking to my actions. Everybody is allowed to make their allegations.
Oh, no, these are allegations against you.
And
so, Mr. Patel, if FBI, senior FBI agents or employees said that you were firing them for political retribution reasons because of the cases they were assigned, you're saying they would be lying. Is that
anyone that was terminated at the FBI was done so for failing to meet the standards, uphold their constitutional oath, and effectuate the mission.
Well, by meet the standards, are you talking about meet the standards of protecting the president under any circumstance?
No.
You also guaranteed Senator Blumenthal that every FBI employee will be held to the same, absolute same standard. No one will be terminated for case assignments. Are you testifying today that you never terminated anyone at the FBI, in whole or in part, because of a prior case assignment?
No one at the FBI is terminated for case assignments alone.
Well, I'm asking about you, Mr. Patel. Did you, in whole or in part, terminate anyone at the FBI because they worked on the Trump investigation or because they worked on January 6th?
No one at the FBI has been terminated for case assignments alone.
Okay, you're saying alone. Does that mean they were terminated in part because they were assigned to a January 6th case or assigned to the Mar-a-Lago case? You're being very precise here, Mr. Patel. You're saying alone. That means they were fired in part because they were assigned those cases. Is that your testimony?
Absolutely not. But if you want to keep putting words
well,
in my mouth,
then
go
let
ahead.
me ask you, let's strip away the word alone. Did you terminate or participate in any discipline of any FBI employee in whole or in part because of their work on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th? Yes or no?
Any terminations at the FBI by employees.
No, I'm asking you a very specific question.
And I'm going to answer the question, but you don't like the answer because it's the truth and it guts
want
your
an answer to my
narrative.
question. I don't want an answer to someone else's question. So let me just be precise, and I ask for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
FBI
yes or no?
employees are only terminated
Yes
if
or
they
no,
fail
Mr.
to
Patel?
uphold their oaths of
Yes
office
or no?
and duty.
You're not
at the
answering my
FBI
question.
I don't have to answer your question yes or no because you're setting up a trap so you can have a media
I'm
narrative.
not setting up a trap.
And I'm not giving it to you.
Unless it's true that you fired people.
People
in
have
whole
been
or in part
terminated at
because
the
they
FBI who failed to uphold
were
the
assigned
standards
to.
that the FBI requires them to
Did
uphold.
you tell anyone at the FBI that all FBI employees who they identified who had worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs? Did you tell that to someone at the FBI?
Say that I would remove people for case assignments?
That people that were identified as having worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs. Did you tell that to someone at the FBI?
People are not removed
But
for
just
case
answer my
assignments.
question. Just answer my question. Did you tell that to someone?
People are not removed for case
No,
assignments.
you're not answering my question.
And I would
Mr.
never
Patel,
tell anyone.
Did you tell someone at the FBI that FBI employees identified as having worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs? Yes or no, did you tell someone that?
I would never tell anyone at the FBI that they're being removed for basically their case assignments.
Okay, so anyone who said that would be lying. Is that your testimony?
Anyone can say whatever they want.
No, I know, but you're saying they were a liar.
I'm telling you what I said.
Because this is in the complaint against you, Mr. Patel. So you're saying Mr. Driscoll and others are liars?
I'm not going to address the complaint and the ongoing
Okay, well then
litigation.
let me ask you, have you ever told anyone at the FBI that the FBI tried to put the president in jail and he hasn't forgotten it, and that your job depended on the removal of agents who worked on cases against the president?
No.
Did you ever tell anyone that?
No.
Okay. Did you ever tell anyone that you knew these summary firings you were undertaking were illegal, likely illegal, and that you would be sued and later deposed? Did you ever tell anyone that?
No firings at the FBI or terminations were done for anything other than justified
Did you ever
cause.
tell anyone that, Mr.
No,
Patel? Why don't you
no
answer my question?
terminations at the FBI were ever done in my tenure for anything other than failing
Did you
to
ever tell
uphold
anyone
their
that,
oath of
Mr.
the
Patel? You willing to
office
answer
or
the
their-
question?
The FBI.
I guess
I
you're
have
not willing to
answered
answer the
it.
question. So let me move on. Let me move on to the Epstein files. You said you're the most transparent FBI director in history, so I'm going to put you to the test. In 2024, you were asked by Glenn Beck about Epstein's Black Book. And you said, he asked, who has Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book? And you said, Black Book FBI. And he said, but who? That is, I mean theirs. And you said, oh, that's under the direct control of the director of the FBI. That's what you said. Was that true, Mr. Patel?
I'll rely on you quoting it accurately. I did
No.
that a couple
Was it
years
true
ago.
what you represented to Mr. Beck and the president's supporters out there, or were you lying? Was it true that the Black Book, Epstein's Black Book, was was in the possession of the FBI director?
The Black Book was in the possession of the FBI.
Okay, so now that you're the FBI director, you have possession of the Black Book, right?
That index has been released.
So you have Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book?
What is known as Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book has been released by us.
And you released it. And let me follow up on Senator Kennedy's question, because he asked you, and I'll be very precise here. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself? And you said, himself, there's no credible information, none. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday.
Okay. Maybe Adam Schiff is looking for actual black color book. That's why I keep asking the same question. Cash Patel already say he released the index of the black book. So it's stupid. So stupid, Adam Schiff.
That he trafficked to other individuals. And Kennedy, the information we have again is limited, and Senator Kennedy said the answer is no one, and you said for the information we have. So is it your testimony today that in all the Epstein files, that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked no one to anyone but himself? Is that your testimony, Mr.
I never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic anyone else.
Did he traffic any young woman to someone other than himself? That was Mr. Kennedy's question, Senator Kennedy's question.
The information that 3 administrations have had access to have made determinations that there are no investigative leads that were credible to prosecute and investigate any others. I'm specifically stating
whether
we
it's
were
your
working
testimony today.
Well, you just read it, and I said it 10 minutes ago, so let the record reflect my testimony.
I just want to make sure there's no misunderstanding, because there are victims like Virginia Guifer who have testified otherwise, who have said otherwise, and you're telling the American people today that the Epstein list is a single name and it's Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we're to believe?
That's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying, and you can say whatever you want.
Let me ask you this. When Todd Blanche went to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, she said, but did I think these guys were coming for that? I really don't. If you met Epstein, there's no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, and some are in your cabinet, who you value as your co-workers, and you know would be with him if he was a creep or because they wanted sexual favors. A man wants sexual favors, he will find out. They didn't have to come to Epstein for that. And the next question Todd Blanche, the president's former criminal defense lawyer, asked is not who in the cabinet. Who are you referring to? His question is, so when's the last time you think you were with Mr. Epstein when he got a massage? So let me ask you, who are those cabinet members that Ghislaine Maxwell was referring to that, that were part of this cast of characters associated with Mr. Epstein? Who are they?
The Deputy Attorney General took the aggressive step that no one else did and interviewed Ms. Maxwell for 2 days, and we released the entirety of that transcript.
Who are the cabinet members?
I do not have that transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American public can read the entirety of that.
One last question, because you clearly won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. Let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No. I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of inmates.
Not in the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform. and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you, and we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of California. We are bringing historic reform.
Point of order.
But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Both of you be quiet. Before I go to Senator Tillis, without objection, I want to introduce into the record the Durham Annex. The Durham Annex is a declassified appendix to John Durham's report about Crossfire Hurricane. The Durham Annex contains information exposing a reported Clinton campaign plan to falsely tie President Trump to Russia. For years, I've fought to assemble and publicize all the facts heretofore unknown surrounding Durham's investigation, Crossfire Hurricane, and related matters. The Durham Annex was declassified, large part, because of Director Patel. Senator Tillis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Director Patel, thank you for being here. I've actually admired the way you've tried to keep your composure over the course of this. Kind of reminds me of an old Far Side comic that said the floggings will continue until morale improves. The last one I just coach you on, don't take the bait, because they're going to use that discussion between you and Senator Schiff, as you've suggested before, to raise money. Just sit down in the quiet confidence that you're doing a good job. Real quick, in less than 30 seconds, give me your resume again on why you're qualified for this position.
Thank you, Senator. I served as a public defender and national security prosecutor. I tried over 60 criminal trials to verdict in state and federal court. I served as the lead investigator in the House Intelligence Committee and the counterterrorism expert there, unfolding the Russiagate investigation. I served as the head of counterterrorism for a presidential White House. I served as a deputy director of national intelligence at the Office of Director of National Intelligence, overseeing our 17 intelligence agencies. I served as a chief of staff to the Department of Defense and the Secretary of Defense, overseeing a $2 trillion financial equity flow, and also defending the homeland and providing for our no-fail mission.
We could drill down in details, because I've studied that record, and I think you should be very proud of it. I just did that for the benefit of the liberal media that just keep referring to you as a podcaster, I think, and I appreciate you giving me that resume. It's a good body of work. It's why I supported your nomination so strongly when you were before this committee. Really quickly, too, on the events of last week and the sad death and assassination of Mr. Kirk, I seem to recall that Mr. Zinn, I think, was the first person of interest. He was reported to be saying, "I shot him, now shoot me," or something to that effect. Would that have more or less, and your job is to calm the tensions, right? There were people running all over the building. People are afraid over there. Could it be that because you were in possession of some of that information that maybe you did just characterize as getting our man, that maybe that's what led up to it, if those facts are correct?
What led me to that is to eliminate subjects, but also we were in a period with inside of 24 hours where we didn't know who the shooter was.
Well, that's why I asked, because people are forgetting that this man was reported to have been saying, "I shot him, now shoot me." They're also forgetting that he brought in an attorney and said that he'd fabricated the claim to draw attention away from the actual shooter. And he went on to get multiple charges for possessing child pornography and sexual abuse material on his phone. So I'm just saying that it just seems to me that in the moment, maybe you should have used different words, but I can't imagine that the amount of time that we've spent on that subject in the hearing today. But I think it's because they're really worried that they're another punchline to an old joke. Your work, it's working in practice, but it's not working in their theory. They haven't heard you, so it's working in practice, but not in theory. They haven't heard you say multiple times that you've plussed up FBI resources in every state. They haven't heard you when you've talked about year-over-year comparisons for results. I don't care how many people you have at HQ, as long as you keep producing those results and they're good. They need to be sustained. Now, I am a little bit concerned about the deployment of National Guard troops to dangerous cities, but you keep on mentioning something I'm going to go back to in terms of joint task forces. You also did a great job of explaining why you think you should save money and go out and fly out of an airport versus an easy trip across the Potomac to National. I love all those responses. I'm not going to repeat them here. But I'm worried that if we move in too quickly, let's say to Memphis, I should back up and say I was Speaker of the House in North Carolina. And I would consider it a personal failure on the part of state leadership if they have to call in federal resources to do their job beyond what they do every day, and that's promoting joint task forces. I've seen ATF, DEA, FBI. I've been in the briefing rooms at 3 o'clock in the morning about to go and do a 55 no-knock warrants on bad people. You all do that every day, and thank God that you are. It looks like we should plus it up in a few cities. I'd rather use the money to deploy National Guard to just continue to leverage what you're already doing well. And I compliment you because I've got to believe it's a lot of these joint task forces that have increased the apprehension and charging rates. So thank you for that. But do you agree that at the end of the day, if we're going to have a sustained impact on crime, whether it's Memphis or any other city, that we've really got to enable, empower, and continue to support the men and women on the ground there every single day?
100%.
Thank you. I think that your cost-benefit mind needs to go into, if I'm about to deploy this many National Guardsmen to a city, what does that cost, and what would that look like if we were plowing that cost of deployment into ongoing, I believe, joint task force, which are working very well. They're working well in North Carolina. So I'd like you to look at it. Now I'm going to move on. The Safer Communities Act, can I get your commitment to get an update? Maybe we could even take a trip out to West Virginia to see how we're doing an extraordinary job of NICS background checks. People are getting them in record time, but we are taking a few guns away from people that probably shouldn't be able to buy that day. Would you agree with that characterization?
I would love to have you out and anyone else in this day is to West Virginia to see that.
I'd like to bring some of my colleagues to see it's working. We had people on my side of the aisle saying it was going to be awful, it was going to result in mass confiscation of guns. Not true. They were wrong. This bill's making a difference. I also want to talk about the behavioral health and other components in granting. I know in North Carolina things are going well. I want to make sure that that flow is going out there because the tragic events in North Carolina and Charlotte, the stabbing, I spoke with one of the family members yesterday, I think that we have to recognize that we have magistrates that have a revolving door policy, no doubt about that, and they should be held accountable if they're releasing dangerous people. But I also think that some of the problem is that we simply don't have a place to send people, particularly with respect to behavioral health. We have got to continue to, every law enforcement officer I've ever spoken with says, look, I've got law enforcement officers seconded to an emergency room because I've got somebody with no place to send them. I don't have a bed upstairs I can send them to. I don't have a behavioral health facility. We've got to provide more ways to detain people that are a risk to themselves and a risk for the community. And I really do believe the Safer Communities Act is a good framework for doing that. That's only a comment. Section 702 is going to come up in April of next year for renewal. Do you believe it should be eliminated and not reauthorized?
No, sir. It needs to be
Can I
reauthorized.
also get your commitment maybe to come back over and review some of the controls that are in place and other things? So hopefully we won't have the drama leading up to April. We can actually come here and get consensus on why you've got the checks and balances in place and why we should do it. Just remove any chance that we're going to run into that cliff narrative next year. Can I get your commitment on doing that?
You have
Mr.
it, sir.
Patel? Thank you. I want to talk very briefly on, and the chairman's given me a gavel, but I promise not to go over more than 2 minutes. But that's why I chose to be last, so I could have this discussion and actually get to some facts versus agendas and clickbait that we'll almost certainly see going forward. Tell me a little bit about the rationale behind the change in stance in recruiting. I also understand there may be a reduction in the academy timeline. Just give me some thinking about where you are on recruiting, retention, training, et cetera.
Simple. So recruitment is through the roof. We've doubled up month over month our applicants to be 1811s or federal agents, intel analysts. So the recruitment is going wonderful. What we have to do is figure out a way to get creative because the BFTC timeline is an 18 to 20 week program. And what we've done to address the openings we have for 1811 brick agents is we opened it up to the interagency and said, hey, do you at Secret Service or DEA or ATF want to come over? You guys went through FLETC. You guys were cops or military officers. You're law enforcement. So we created a shortened bridge program of 6 weeks at Quantico that if you want to come over and be an FBI agent, you can do so. There's transfers all the time. We just made it easier. And we're also recruiting police officers who might not have a college degree. But in my opinion, that does not disqualify them from serving our community. So we're welcoming them. It's a rigorous application process. It's just one item. But we are changing the timelines based on the needs of the country, but not jeopardizing quality.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I heard someone almost a throwaway line that you were hiring people without a college degree. Most of them have had basic law enforcement training, all the kinds of certifications. You're talking to somebody who didn't achieve my 4-year degree until I was 37. I'd like to think that I brought some things to the table, and I think that those people, the mere comment, I think is inappropriate for somebody considering this to think that they're a lesser person because they don't have a piece of paper. I wanted to get back to the last thing that I will talk about. I'll follow up with some questions for the record. Thank you, incidentally, for consistently being responsive to any inquiries I've made to you. But on the Kirk shooting, I do believe that that Senator Schmitt's numbers are right. There seems to be a disproportionate number of voices on the left that are celebrating the assassination of a CEO or celebrating the assassination of someone in Mr. Kirk's case that I disagreed with probably about half of his positions, but I felt like he was a good voice in engaging young people, and that's a start, as long as we can do it civilly. And then I also just went back online because I've hammered on this committee multiple times. I just went online and I found in Pinterest that even today you could order a T-shirt that says ACAB 13.12, which translates to all cops are bastards. Or if you don't like that shirt, you can go get an F the Cops shirt at the same website, on a location on Pinterest. There is clearly a problem with some of the voices of the left, and I'm not necessarily saying any members of Congress, that need to tamp it down. Having said that, within 24 hours of Mr. Kirk's shooting, we had the guy that does the podcast for the War Room and another guy who's denied the Sandy Hook shootings say we're at war. Now, how on earth, and I do believe it's a smaller number, but it's a number that has an influence. How on earth are we de-escalating the situation and with the tensions as high as they were last week with going out and saying we're at war? I'm not asking you to respond to this question. I'm just saying that there are people out here on our side of the aisle that still need to look in the mirror. Even if you agree that it's a lower number, bad is bad no matter how many numbers they are. And that kind of rhetoric and that kind of mobilization makes your job more difficult and puts us in a position where we're not being as productive as you want the FBI and state and local law enforcement to be. I'm finished. I just want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for your concise answers. And I am thoroughly impressed with the fact that you have sat in that chair for over 4 hours without a break. So with that, we're, on behalf of the chair, want to thank you for being here today. And also, I assume, we leave.
Thank you for your comment. I think it's very entertaining, especially the part with Adam Schiff, and hopefully we are able to get rid of him after we have voter ID. Without the voter ID, I think it is really hard to get rid of him, and also we will see what happened on on the Proposition 50. The Proposition 50. Let me see. Let me play it. See if I can.
California voters stop rigged elections by approving an independent redistricting commission where citizens decide, not politicians.
Prop 50 suspends this historic reform, destroying our reputation as a national leader for fair elections.
Prop 50 destroys congressional districts created by the Citizen Commission, letting politicians rig new districts for themselves, sacrificing fair elections and voter choice.
Don't let Prop 50 take us backwards. Keep California a leader for reform. Vote no on 50.
You is better. Military. I don't know if the military is out of control. I have to look it up. National debt. I know, because we still have to a lot of money spending. So hopefully the tariff will help. Hopefully we get the tariff, and hopefully by next year all the manufacturers can start. Instead of just putting the money, it's not enough. Just putting the money in our system, financial system, is not enough. We need to build the manufacturer. So that takes time, and for too long we lost many technicians. Now we need lots of new technicians, so young technician. So so that takes some time. Hopefully, yeah, that's why we need 2026. We still need the Congress in red. Still we need Republican there. Tariff won't do anything to the national. Oh, come on, man, it will. Okay, Jimmy Kimmel got fired. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel got fired. And go back all the way at the beginning, I explained what happened, why he deserved to be fired. And really a Chinese who leaves Trump? What the hell? Another racist. It must be Democrat, huh? So much for free speech, right? No, it's because Jimmy Kimmel was lying. So FCC took out the license. If Jimmy Kimmel still works in ABC, if FCC will take all the license, the FCC license. And if you guys do a little bit of research, probably you know what FCC responsibilities are. And FCC don't control the internet, but they control all other communication. Even walkie-talkie, okay, they control walkie-talkie too. So all the communication. For what? Okay, you have to go back all the way from the beginning. Yeah, that's the first part. That's what I'm talking about Jimmy Kimmel. I think it's pretty clear why Jimmy Kimmel need to get fired. And investment to bring my reflection back to you. Okay, why would anyone? Okay. Because tariffs, okay, brew, Titan brew, okay, because the tariffs, the manufacturer has to do it here, otherwise they will charge for tariffs. Okay, how can we have manufacturing job if we won't let the immigrant build them? Okay, we have immigrants. We don't have illegal immigrants. That lucky guy, you forgot to type illegal. You got to type illegal too. There's difference between illegal and legal. Okay. Oh, that part already passed. Okay. Release the Epstein files. Okay. You got to roll back. And also in my feature video, I also talk about that too. So I spent three program talk about the Epstein file. So it's kind of boring about the Epstein file. You got to have something, more creative. What are you talking about? Lucky American build stuff all the time. You people are delusional. What are you talking about? Lucky Americans build stuff all the time. Delusional, okay. They release. Oh man. Yeah, already. Okay. Go back. Go back. It's already talked about. This keep asking the same question that everyone. Epstein file, Epstein file, Epstein file. What do they want to file? Okay, this is what happened. They want to see Trump's name on the file. Otherwise, they're not going to give up asking or show you. What do you want to know? Even Maxwell already come out and say Trump didn't do anything bad. And the TDS people won't believe it. China can order manufacture chip. Okay, thank you very much. And about manufacturing thing, we already talked about it. Okay, thank you very much. And show me Donald Trump making America merchant. I've done this before, but I have to do it every time. Come on, don't make me take off my hat every time. Okay? Ah, man. Hunter Biden laptop file, okay? Release. Well, thank you very much for everyone for your comment, okay? I try to do more preparation. Today kind of clumsy, I feel like. Okay, I will do it better tomorrow for you guys, okay? Appreciate all the new subscriber. Cheap because of cheap labor, low quality product. Not saying China too. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Stay safe. God bless you. I see you next time. Bye bye.